Thank you, sir. I don't think I deserve any of the introduction, but anyway, Namaskaromi. Namasabhaye Sabhapati Yasya. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara. Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. My pranams to all the gurus from kindergarten till today, whoever taught me anything, everything. Namaskar. Let me start with the lecture without wasting any time. Ashwatha family and Amarakosha is the topic given to me. Today's lecture is on Vanaushadhi Varga and in particular the ficus family trees, better known in Sanskrit as Shirin trees. We will be dealing with huge trees and their parts from the view of Amarakosha. Apart from Vanaushadhi Varga, botany is contained in many other Vargas in Amarakosha. It is surprising to note that all facets of botany have been covered and the synonyms that Amarasimha deftly employs corresponds to modern botany. One can compare Amarakosha with Mahabharata. The vast epic is hailed as a repository of all branches of knowledge in entirety, and there is no information that exists there which is not mentioned in it. The same can be said about Amarakosha. Now we focus on our Shirin trees. Why is a whole group of trees called Shirin trees? If you tear a leaf or split a bud or break a stem, a liquid substance resembling milk will ooze from it. The family of Articaceae or ficus or fig trees have this kshira in them. They are deemed holy. Narada Purana in chapter 50 says that all the Tani and Shirin trees are holy and conducive to fame. They enjoy a great history, antiquity, as they are mentioned in all our ancient texts, right from Rig Veda. You can see the Vata here being propitiated. These trees are pride of India and Vata is our national tree. They are both very important in medicine as well as tradition. Let's at the outset travel back to the days of Puranas. You will be surprised to find that people veritably made the kshira, milk exudation, their staple food and held them on par with God. During a typical Sankalpa, you would have come across the phrase Saptat Dvipa Vasundhara. According to ancient geography of India, there are 7 continents and each Dvipa or continent is named after a prominent tree of that continent. Vayu Purana says that Ashwatha tree which grew on the peak of Mount Vipula is the divine tree of Ketumala. While churning milk ocean, the Asuras and Devas vied with each other to get the Amrita. The reverberation of the battle shook the Ashwatha tree and Indra offered his garland to the tree and worshipped it. That continent acquired the name Ketumala. In Uttar country, at the peak of mountain Suparshvan, Matsya Purana says that a unique Shirin tree grew with its branches covering a huge area of many yojanas. The name of this notable tree is Rohina. Their flowers exuded fragrant honey. The kshira of the trees was delicious and had all the 6 tastes. The citizens there drank the amrita like kshira and lived happily. The women were beautiful and gave birth to twins is an interesting, important information. Yet another continent, the Ramanaka Varsha, was sanctified by Vata's presence. The citizens drank the juice of Vata. They were pure and handsome to look at and full of joy. They enjoyed longevity. Please note these attributes. We'll look into their scientific aspect later. The antiquity of Shirin trees is thus renowned in all the scriptures. The very fact that certain customs are being followed in far-off countries like Bali proves that those were followed in the country of their origin ardently and got watered down subsequently. In Bali, I saw vata trees with huge white umbrellas, and they tie umbrellas to the tree because the kings carry umbrellas, and they are given a big cloth to wear around them. And this the same thing with, you can see the cloth on the Ashwatha tree also, and they are all decorated, and every day they offer food, Nevedyam, to these trees. We now turn our attention to the excavations of Indus Valley period. The findings at Mohenjo-daro and Harappa point out that the pottery, seals, and those things, Ashwatha tree figures are there everywhere, and they are very easily identified by its unique shape of the leaf. Amarasimha begins describing the trees starting with Ashwatha, Ficus religiosa, with the synonym Bodhi. With multifarious attributes to the tree, why did Amarasimha choose the word Bodhi to introduce the tree? According to etymology, Buddh, avagamane, denotes knowledge. It is well known that Buddha attained nirvana under the Ashwatha tree. The Chinese traveler Huan Chang records witnessing a lush green pipalo tree. They called it pipalo, with a diamond throne under it. It was 50-foot tall tree that shed its leaves on Nirvana Day. As Buddhists from different parts of the world flocked to this tree and worshipped with scented water and perfumed milk, this tree is conducive to penance, as we learn from all the texts. There is a clue in the term Bodhi. Next. There is a clue in the term Bodhi for Amarasimha to start the verse with Bodhi. Bodhi is a term specially associated with Buddha, and one can deduce the date of Amarasimha as later to Lord Buddha, roughly 6th century BCE. Seldom the authors mention that personal details, but through Bodhi we can find out. We also are privy to his religion, Buddhism. But there is controversy as to Amarasimha was initially a Hindu and later became a Buddhist and all that. The synonym Bodhi has opened up so many vistas for search. Now, the Puranas carry 1 million episodes about the sages and others who did penance under the tree and realized Brahman. The tree permeates the atmosphere with a positive energy, cleanses the atmosphere, and pervades the atmosphere with prana or positivity. All ficus members are endowed with a divine quality for spiritual upliftment and can be summed up when we cite the example of Dakshinamurti. One example is enough. He sits under a family member of Kshirin. It's a Kallala Maram. Then the next slide. We go to the next word, Chaladala. Here the Kosha reflects the sense of observation of the author, who states that even a gentle movement of wind will move the leaves. The morphology of the leaf reveals that the petiole of the leaf is very long. You can see the petiole. This is a very young leaf, but look at the petiole. The petiole of the leaf is very long. Look at the lamina or the leaf blade. The leaf is thick and broad, heart-shaped. See the tip. So because it's so long, it very quickly moves with the wind. And hence the wind wafts the leaves and produces a murmuring sound. The commentator Shiraswamy also has commented about this. It's a morphological factor that Amarasimha observes. Pipala. Pipala is a common name all over India. It protects the ones who serves it, worships it. When serving the tree, we are in proximity and we are in the energy field, and we are benefited from it. In Brahma Purana, we have an interesting anecdote about Ashwatha tree. When sage Dadichi was asked by Indra to donate his backbone for making Vajrayuta, he conceded. He considered because Indra wanted to destroy an Asura who was tormenting everyone. The bones were taken from him, and the rishi sacrificed his life for the sake of humanity. Dadichi's unfortunate wife, Suvarchala, was expecting her son at that juncture. Distraught with grief, she wanted to end her life. She decided to save her unborn son. She took the fetus and left it at the roots of Ashwatha trees. She told them that she is leaving the fetus in their care and they should look after the fetus. And after it reaches its full-fledged growth, they should look after the baby. The Purana says that the Ashwatha trees agreed to it and fed the fetus with their latex exudation, their kshiran, and the fetus became a baby and it derived nourishment from the kshira of Ashwatha, and he was named Pippalada Rishi. Later, he became a very famous sage. Thus, Ashwatha was the foster mother and brought him up till he became a young lad. After that, the trees informed about the details of the birth and even advised him to Pippalada and advised him about the route of reaching a city and building his career. One might dispose it off as a myth, yet myths become realities in modern science. We ridiculed about Abhimanyu and him listening to Chakravyuha and all that, but now we have ultrasound and actually we can see the fetus. And all Ayurveda texts discuss the kshirin quality of the family, and we know it is milky white liquid. It was mentioned in the introduction about the benefits of drinking the milk in the all have longevity, they have beautiful complexion, they are robust, and they have good health, they give birth to twins, so many good attributes. And I think it is a very good substitute to a pediatric product and can be substituted for Stanyam, mother's milk. Let's not be indifferent till someone patents it and sells it as pediatric baby food. We will deal with the ingredients later about the kshirin. Ashwatha is served as an incubator in which the fetus was grown. Perhaps the foliage, roots, and other parts which are soft enveloped and wrapped the baby and maintained the temperature. The water from rains and kshira in particular provided the watery medium, the amniotic fluid. Maybe we can do research about it later. Therefore, Ashwatha, being the foster mother of sage Pippalada, could be a possibility. Suvarchala made the right decision for her son, knowing that he will derive the spiritual prowess right in the proximity of a Bodhi tree. It should be mentioned here that the Paramveer Chakra given posthumously to our brave soldiers for the utmost sacrifice has the insignia of Dadichi's Vajrayuta etched on it. Now we go to Kunjarasana. If foliage is so dense, won't animals seek them for their nourishment? The lush foliage is like by the elephants. Kunjarasana, Kunjaranam Ashana. The dhatu ash here is employed in the sense of eating. It is the energy building nourishment for the elephants. We also know the leaves contain bone building calcium and other nutrients. The buds and fruits are full of glucose and supplements. Then we come to the original name Ashwatha. Matsya Purana, while narrating the etymology of the dhatu ash, describes it as a dynamic energy. It arises from the etymology ash, to go. Stemming from this etymology, Ashva is also the mare, the female Shakti of the horse. Hence Ashwatha. The Puranas hailing Ashwatha as a cosmic tree also link it with Surya. And Ashwatha has the curative ability of Surya, on par with Surya, some of the texts proclaim. The study on Matsya Purana comments that once Surya was conceived of as Ashwa, the imagery of the cosmic tree as Ashwatha and of the dynamic energy as Ashwa, the mare, can be comprehended. The cosmos is called Ashwatha because a horse is at its center. After all, the expression horsepower is so true. We have already dealt with Ash Bhojane in the previous example, Kunjarashana. So we'll go to the next slide. With these comments, now we can learn about the scientific basis of Ashwatha Pradakshina. Is it just a custom, superstitious custom? Let's see. Early morning Ashwatha circumambulation or pradakshina is recommended only because during that time the atmosphere is filled with ozone and breathing it cleanses the body. Early morning sun rays cures the doshas and help in many ways. The leaves waft the medicated air from their leaves and we breathe it. It also cleanses uterus. The sole of the feet treading on rough terrain massages the pressure points under the feet. One can shed weight and keep fit by walking. All this is done in empty stomach, a stipulation statutory in Ayurveda. Don't you think a combination of all these will help in conception? The Tamil proverb இருக்கு இல்லையா, அரச மரத்தை சுத்தி வந்து அடி வைத்த தொட்டு பார்த்துக்கிறது. It seems very true and it's pregnant with meaning, literally. One more interesting interpretation to Ashwatha, Ashwa is also etymologically explained as Ashwa and Stha, as the abode of Agni. How can fire live inside a tree? Sounds contradictory. The Agni resides in the tree and that too in the form of Ashwa. The mare-shaped Agni is only heard with reference to Vadavagni. This Agni is inside the ocean amidst water, compressed under immense pressure, and during the Pralaya comes out and burns with great luster at 90 degrees angle, resembling the Ashwamukha. As a living entity, the cytology of plants also point out the water principle predominating in the cells of the tree. How was fire produced during the Vedic era? The Agni was produced with Ashwatha and Shami woods for the Vedika or fireplace for Yajna. It's a process called Agni Mantana. Vishnu Dharmottara Purana is elaborate in the episode of Ashwatha and Agni. King Pururavas with Urvashi was given the technique of producing fire with Ashwatha wood by the Gandharvas. Being a very strong tree, Ashwatha is the Uttararani or the upper portion of the Arani and Shami as the Agni Garbha, the other Arani, the lower piece. The Ashwatha wood is inserted into the Shami wood and churned to produce fire. Ashwatha is very tough tree that does not break with churning. The wood is conducive to good friction and the starting of flames. It will stand the heat and will not be reduced to ashes quickly. The ingredients of the wood should be worthy also and enhance the atmosphere. All the above qualities are in Ashwatha and it adds merit to the Yajna. There are Nakshatra trees and some temples grow these Nakshatra trees. There are 27 Nakshatras. There are 27 trees corresponding to the stars. Jyotisha Shastra finds a link between the tree and the star. Trees and astronomy is an absorbing subject, and it is a very vast, deep subject. The constellations are interlinked with each other and also linked with the earth and her entities. Hence, each living being has the influence of celestial bodies. Ashwatha is one of the Nakshatra trees. It governs the Nakshatra Pushya. According to those born under the particular star, should worship the corresponding tree pertaining to that star. Since Ashwatha is the tree for star Pushya, The children born under this asterism should seek the help of Ashwatha for health and happiness. Following this, the Pushya star born people can plant Ashwatha trees and worship. Ashwatha is for trouble-free life. They are not supposed to take any medicine prepared from any part of Ashwatha tree. It will not work. This is the verdict of Jyotisha Shastra. We also are informed by Jyotisha Shastra that certain trees are personified as planets or grahas. In some places, we have the Navagraha trees in some temples. I think Balajapet also has those trees. Instead of the Graha idols, they are kept in the place of the real Graha idols, where the idols should stand. These trees are planted for worship. Ashwatha is planted in the place of Guru and represents Graha Guru in the Navagraha pantheon. Ashwatha samits are offered to fire for subduing the malefic effects of Guru in Navagraha Homa. It is the Shubhagraha bestowing all auspiciousness, and these trees is a personification of auspiciousness. Now we move on to Udumbara. It is the Ficus glomerata racemosa. Even from Rig Veda, all the Vedic scriptures carry information on Udumbara. It is widely used and venerated tree. Udumbara, Ullingita Ambara. It's a skyscraper tree. The trees are so tall, it grows very high and spreads its branches widely. Jantu Phala. One cannot help marveling Amarasimha's observation of nature. Jantu is creature and Phala is fruit. A combination of animal kingdom and plant kingdom in one word. Jantu here is the wasp, and Amarasimha has summed up the unique bond so wonderfully woven between the life cycles of a tree and a species of wasp belonging to Insecta. The Udumbara tree's reproduction has a strong link with the propagation of wasp species. This strikes a unique symbiosis where the wasp's only focus of birth seems to be the pollination of the Udumbara flowers, and the tree's focus seems to be serving as shelter and food for the wasp. Being a Vanaspati trees are not apparent in Udumbara. All the 5 family Arcturians fall under the category of Vanaspati. Amarasimha has given the taxonomy details. He is a great expert in taxonomy. Taxonomy details are of the plant kingdom is given in Vanaushadhi Varga. The shloka 6 describes Vanaspati as Vanaspatiyaha palaihi pushpat taihi apushpat vanaspatihi. There are 2 kinds of trees, one with fruits and flowers and other without any flowers. He clearly classifies that Vanaspati plants possess both flowers and fruits, and apushpat, bereft of flowers, is Vanaspati. Vanaspati trees are those that do not put forth flowers, meaning that we do not see the flowers. They are not visible, yet they are there. The flowers are termed as Guda Pushpa, or hidden flowers. The reason is as follows. Udumbara fruit is a multiple fruit, meaning many fruits are united in a receptacle. This is called a syconium. See the picture. If you follow the picture, maybe you will understand. The flowers are born inside the syconium initially, and these flowers are pollinated by the wasp. Then these flowers develop into fruits. The whole receptacle is what we call the Udumbara fruit. There are male flowers and female flowers in the syconium, as well as male and female wasps. The male wasps mate with the female wasps inside the syconium. The female wasp, while leaving the syconium, pass through the male flowers. They coat the body of the female wasp with pollen grains. Once outside, the female wasps go in search of another Udumbara fruit and enter it through the aperture at one end of the fruit called ostiole. They are pregnant when they enter the fruit, and they drop the pollen into the female flowers as they enter the syconium and find their place inside it. It is very significant that there is a specific species of wasp for each species of ficus trees. One wasp will never enter another species of Udumbara fruit. As an example, Ficus carica wasp will not enter Ficus infructoria fruit. Then we come to the next synonym, Yajnangaha, Yajnasyanga, a part of Yajna. Every text of Veda, of course from Rig Veda, narrate the use of trees, especially the part played by Kshirin trees. All their woods are used in Yajna. Amarasimha here uses this term with reference to the common attribute of all ficus families. Though he uses it for Udumbara, he means all the ficus family members. The sacrificial stake is known as Yupa. Yupaya Daru, Panini says. It should be from trees that are tall, majestic, and of high caliber. Udumbara is one of Yupas used. Then we come to the Sambaras. The wood pieces and other materials collected for offering to the fire constitute the Sambara. You have the typical Yajna here with the fire with the three fires. And the samids are offered to the fire, and Ashwatha is the usual stick used for kindling fire, as also Udumbara sticks. Udabarsi says Shatapada Brahmana text. The text signifies the reason for the name Udumbara. Lifting me from all evil is the meaning, and Urukara, making a wide space, is Ulukala, is another interpretation given for the mortar. Udumbara is thus eulogized in Vedic texts as the energy-giving wood. The charu, anna, and offerings are placed in the fire with ghee by ladles. These are made of wood. The ladle with a long handle is made of Udumbara wood. Katyayana Shrauta Sutra says that it should be 1 aratni in length and used for carrying the Garhapatya fire to the Avganiya. And in Vajapaya Yajna also, the Shruva is carved out of Udumbara. The Upabrad ladle is from Ashwatha wood. Anyway, the vessels, containers that are used for storing water, milk, and other kinds of food are also from Udumbara. The Somalata leaves are kept on Udumbara couch called Rajashandi. The pressing boards are the Palakas. Adisavana Palaka are made of Udumbara wood. The Soma juice is preserved in Udumbara Ashwatha containers. The Soma goblets are made of Vata, and Udumbara chair is also used for sitting. And now we find that the entire family of Kshirin trees is utilized in all aspects of Yajna. Then, okay, we are talking so much about Kshirin. Let us now see what it is, because Amarakosha employs the word synonym Hema Dugdha. Usually, Kshirin is milk exudation or looking like milk, that is white colored fluid. And but here he says Hema Dugdha. That is golden colored milk or latex. Usually the exudation is known as Kshira, but here it is Hema Dugdha. That is the reason for Amarasimha. There is a reason for Amarasimha specifying it as Hema. Let's see the efficacy of Kshira fluid first. The buds, the leaves, stem, fruits, roots, every part has fluid that is used as medicine. It is a complex emulsion having protein, alkaloid, starches, sugars, oils, tannins, resins, and gums. Here I have given all the conditions, all the parts: antioxidant, hepatoprotective, cytotoxic, has photochemicals, and then I have given the names of the the components of the Kshirin also. It's a tonic and a supplement. The sugars are very high in calories. Everything has been given here, and it is antipyretic, anti-tussive, and antibacterial, antifungal. So many antis to this latex. Any one of the ingredients could have given the color to the latex for Udumbara milk. The Material Medica gives a whole list of diseases and conditions such as diabetes, visceral obstructions, pitta, leprosy, so on. The list is so long that I cannot, for want of time, I cannot cover everything. And these are all cured, all the conditions are cured by the milky latex. The latex of every fig species contains different ingredients. The latex of Udumbara will contain some ingredient, and the latex of others may contain a different ingredient. As an example, the Ficus caryca kshira has peptonizing ferment. It converts starch to sugar. The fructose sugar is very nutritious, gives energy. The fruits are easily digested. It's a tonic. A long list of benefits are written in the slide. Please look into that and please note them. And probing into the structure of the latex vessels that bring latex, we find that the cells in which the latex is found has the latissiferous system. There is a system for that. The cell walls are dissolved to make one continuous tube. It becomes one continuous hollow tube. They are the latex vessels. Many cells make these vessels, and it is known as articulated latticifers. Perhaps this is the reason the baby Pipalada could be fed in the previous anecdote. The kshira plays a vital role in gynecology-related problems in women. It fortifies the uterus, prevents miscarriage by strengthening the muscles, and helps as an anti-inflammatory medicine. Little wonder that it is included in our samskaras performed after pregnancy. Pumsavanam is performed in the first trimester of pregnancy. During this time, the cells of the fetus get specified in their function, starting to form the different organs. It also gets the identification of the gender. Pumsavanam, as the name suggests, is mainly performed for a male progeny as the prefix for that purpose. We do not yet know how the manipulation of the chromosomal complement is achieved. Clinical research has to verify that, but the ancient custom has been in vogue for centuries. The vata plays a vital role as the buds of vata are crushed and the milk is extracted. This milk is poured into the right nostril of the expecting wife. Why right nostril? It corresponds to the Pingala Nadi or the Surya Nadi that is active. The kshira received through the right nostril reaches the circulatory system of the mother. This is Nasyam practice common in Ayurveda to pour medicine through the nose which reaches the circulatory system. Charaka Samhita states that the buds of the banyan tree that is grown in the manger of the cow, that is Goshala, should be picked for best results. The other samskara pertaining to Udumbara is the Seemanton Nayana, where the husband parts the hair of the wife with a Udumbara twig, porcupine quill, and Veeratara wood. Center parting also has the center parting also has a lot of Yoga Sutra and Yoga Shastra significance. Ida Pingalika Madhye Shushumna Granthi Bedini. The fact that uterine bleeding can be controlled for pregnant women with fruits of Udumbara, thereby arresting miscarriage, and Udumbara is a boon. Mother Ganga originated from under a Udumbara tree. The 27th chapter of Shiva Purana, the Koti Rudra Samhita, elaborates that sage Gautama reveals the birth of Gangama from the Udumbara tree that grew in the Brahmagiri hills. Ganga joyously flowed and cascading the slopes of Brahmagiri hills, sanctifying the many parts of India. What an elevated status for Udumbara. The nakshatra that Udumbara governs is Kritika. The woven net of stars, that is Kritika. The people born under the Kritika constellation should seek Udumbara tree as it will help. And then look at Atti Varada. There are many Atti idols. Even Anta Padmanabha Swami. The Abdivarada carved from Udumbara wood stood the test of time, even though submerged under water. It looks fresh as if it's been carved yesterday. Then let's move on to Plaksha. We are running out of time. Ficus infectoria. It governs Uttara Phalguni star, the twin stars at the tail of Simha Rasi. Plaksha. There is also the etymology. Plaksha, Plaksha Bhakshane. Similar to other members of the family, the leaves can be eaten, everything, and the buds, and it's very good nourishment. And it consumes the kapha and other doshas, acts as a medicine for phlegm-related sicknesses. It grows on hills. Its favorite habitat is the mountain cliffs. Then Jati. The tree produces adventitious roots that are aerial, the avarohi, growing from the branches. It looks like the jata, matted locks of Lord Shiva. The roots twine with one another and hang down and are in multitudes that they look like a heavy curtain. The previous eminent speaker on Vanaushadhi Varga gave the apt example of Tarzan swinging with the aerial roots from one place to another. So now I'm giving another example. Perhaps in these days, one can relate to Bahubali swinging from one cliff to another, catching the sturdy aerial roots. Concentrating on morphology, Amarasimha, while describing roots, have narrated about the aerial roots called Avaroha, Shifa or Jata. We have that in Amarakosha. They are given as synonyms by Amarasimha in Shloka 11. The aerial roots, though they start growing from the branches, grow down towards earth due to its magnetic pull. It pervades in all directions from the branches. By entwining with each other, it becomes matted and hence resembles a jata, avarohi. Or the adventitious roots always grow down in the avarohana manner from the branches to meet the earth. The entire region becomes scenic. So we have the name Parkati because of that. The roots are so closely packed that it brushes against each other, too close for proximity. This gives a dense appearance, adding girth to the tree, making it more majestic. And it's a picturesque screen decorating the forest. Plaksha, according to Puranas, is the origin of river Saraswati. Now we have a lot of research going on about Saraswati. The place is hailed as Plaksha Prasravarana. Vayu Purana narrates its Mahatmya, says that it is near Kurukshetra and elaborates on Vyasatirtha and Triplaksha regions. In Vamana Purana, one Lomaharsha reveals the birth of Saraswati river from Plaksha trees. Plaksha Vrikshat Samudbhuta Sarit Shreshta Saraswati. Sage Markandeya, perceiving her originating and flowing from Plaksha Eulogista, there is a shloka in the Purana. Tasmin Plakshe Sthitam Drishtva Markandeyo Mahamunihi. So he actually saw it and he has composed a shloka. And river Saraswati is also called Plakshaja, that is born of Plaksha. And we come to Vata now. Vata is Ficus bengalensis. Its antiquity goes back even before the creation. Even before the creation started, we have the Vata. How come? The beginning of the world. It survived because it survived the great deluge or Mahapralaya. The Puranas narrate about this. The tree with Lord Krishna sitting on the branches as perceived by sage Markandeya is elaborated in all ancient texts. There is also the description of Vatapatra Sahi, child Krishna reclining on the Vata leaf. Let's see how Amarasimha describes it. Nyagrodha. Vinyak or Triyak Runadhiti. Vata is a Sharanalaya, a refuge to many living beings, including humans. There are travelogues written, and they have mentioned about huge trees of India. And it's a very huge, they have written about very huge banyan trees under which the whole army stayed. The tree many centuries ago was so huge that the girth is explained in the Puranas as many, many yojanas. Here is the description of the tree and the corresponding yugas. If you look at the yugas, if you look at the Satya Yuga, Vata, One Yojana, Treta, Vateshwara, Three-quarter Yojana, Dwapara, and it is half Yojana, and Kali and Purana Purusha only quarter Yojana. So we have smaller trees now. And so, in fact, all the trees were very huge and tall. Bhavishya Purana explicitly states that these humongous trees will get dwarfed as Kali Yuga progresses. But mercifully, we still have a few trees left, huge trees left. We see one in Anantapur, Andhra Pradesh. It looks like a whole township taking shelter under it. It is called Timmamma Marimanu. You can see it even today. And how does it survive? Amarasingha explains in the next synonym Bahupada. There are many feet to the banyan. The Vata is famed as Bahupada Vanaspati. Padapa here means the aerial roots that grow from the branches that, when in contact with the earth, penetrate the soil, establish a proper root system there. These roots, though aerial, transform themselves to regular roots and absorb the nutrients from the soil and grow. The portion above becomes subsidiary trunks and support the tree. Even if the main tree dries, these support and help spreading horizontally, encompassing a huge area. In this manner, the age of the tree is extended and Vata has the maximum longevity. The name Sthirayu is so apt for this tree, and the Vata at Gaya is known as Akshaya Vata, which never faces destruction and has been living for decades. Then we come to the name Vata. By calling the tree Vata, we praise the activity pervading, surrounding huge areas. It relates to its natural nature of growth and incessantly growing, not ceasing its activity. This is a divine tree, and the aerial roots and shifa are used as Dantakasha. You see the beautiful leaves. Look at the leaves, and the leaves are called especially shaped and called as Juhupatram. Look at the petiole and the shape of the leaf, and it is attached to the base of the lamina or the leaf blade. Then the next slide shows the new leaf, and it is Sungam. It is also called Sungi because of that. And these Sungam protect the new leaves and the bud. This is speciality of banyan trees. And so this is so beautiful. And the aerial roots or shifa are used for cleaning teeth. And we go to the next slide, and this is the aerial roots that I talked about. And look at the shifa, and this, you can collect the aerial roots and clean your teeth, they'll sparkle. And it is known as Dantakashta, and Brihat Samhita has a big list of Dantakashta, and this is the list. And they also have ficus trees. And I'm reminded of the Tamil proverb, Alum Velum Pallukurdi, describing the medicinal aspect of both roots and the twigs. And since they contain astringent property, it can make the yellow teeth white. It can clean the stains on the teeth. Then actually Dantakashta is made into a brush. You can pound one side of the vata twig. You can take the twig like this, pound it and use it as a brush. It's fresh brush for every use. The old brush is thrown away. It is so clean and sterile, and it should be thrown, discarded in the proper place, so that you don't contaminate others. There is no contamination, and so in these COVID days, only these are very useful, I feel. And so yeah, Vata, Ashwata, all these are used, and they give prosperity, they give health, they give mental peace. So many other attributes are also given in the list. And so now we see that Vata governs star Magha, the constellation in the form of a swan. Magha Nakshatram is in the form of a swan. And then we now move on to the last species for today. What is the timeline? So we now go to we have some more time. Now we can see the Vata Pradakshina. I can take some more time. Vata Pradakshina. Why do we do Pradakshina? It is done on Jeshta Purnima. We don't do it blindly. There is a lot of meaning to the Pradakshina of trees. As I told about Ashwatha, there are so many medicinal attributes. And apart from that, we tie the tree with threads soaked in turmeric and kumkum and all that. Turmeric preserves the tree, and turmeric avoids the tree getting infected with insects and we come to Kaka Udumbara, Ficus hispida, and Kaka means that the tree is liked by crows. They build a nest and live on them. Also, it seemingly like Udumbara Sadrisham, but Udumbara Kalpa, whatever you can say, but still it is a sister species of Udumbara, though it is so, its medical and other ecological benefits are nonetheless. It has a lot of benefits. And it is called Palguhu. The fruits are dry, says the commentator. Nisaratvat is one interpretation. The hardwood sara inside the bark may not be very thick, but it is a Palgu Phala. And it has another name, Malapu, that is, it is given for evacuation. The digestive system gets cleansed. It cures diseases like Kushta, Vrana, piles and all that. And Jagane Pala is yet another synonym. That is, it bears fruits on its shoulders. Actually, Kukshipala, the fruits are borne, the leaf axil as in Vata, but Jaganepala is on shoulders. So it is on the branches, and hence it is called Jaganepala. Since it looks like shoulders, and Amarasimha's text is Namalingana Shashanam. He adds the linga gender usage in his text. Ashwatasya palam, Ashwata, Plakshasya palam, Plaksha, Negrodesya palam, Nayagrotam. All this is there. All the Tadita details are given by Amarasimha. Such comprehensive information on taxonomy, morphology, and other branches subtly introduced in the synonyms is a treat for botanists and others alike. I hope you all enjoyed. There are many species, and there is still more lot of information, but want of time, it cannot be said in one lecture. And so I would request you all to conserve these trees, and please do not cut the trees, hew them down, and if you save them, they protect you. Vriksho rakshati rakshitah. Thank you.